Revealed, I was left out of a family reunion, an unexpected journey to discover my true worth. Sarah stood behind the counter of the Sunnyside diner, flipping pancakes with a heavy heart. It was another ordinary day in her small Midwestern town, but the air was charged with an unshakable sense of loss. Invitations to the family reunion had been sent out. She could practically hear the laughter of her siblings echoing in her mind, yet not a single one bore her name. It felt like a knife twisting in her gut. How could they gather without her? How could they disregard the sacrifices she made to keep the family diner thriving? Every shared meal in her diner spoke of warmth, yet her own family's silence cut like cold steel through the heart of her pride. With each plate she served, Sarah plastered on a smile, masking her pain like the whipped cream topping on her customers' waffles. Helene, a regular with a penchant for gossip, could always spot a frown from a mile away. "You okay, sugar?" Helene asked, tilting her head, genuine concern shining in her eyes. Sarah forced a laugh. "Oh, just the usual grind." But inside, her heart ached, an unwelcome guest at a reunion she was never invited to. Despite the hurt, there was something stirring within her, a spark of defiance. A small business competition had been advertised in the local paper. The winner received funding to enhance their business. Funding that could breathe life into the Sunnyside diner and, just maybe, garner the recognition she craved. As she wiped down tables, anticipation bubbled up in her chest. She would show them her worth, even if it meant stepping back into the spotlight that her family had cast her from. As she prepared her entry, doubts loomed large like storm clouds. Over the long nights of planning, she confronted uncomfortable truths about her family's relationship with success. They saw the corporate path as a golden ticket, while she found pride in the meals she served, the community she fostered. Each setback felt like being left behind again, the invitation to join their lives dangling out of reach. The thought of her family's voices celebrating her absence gnawed at her spirit as she wrestled with her identity. Yet, as the deadline approached, disaster struck. A health inspector graced the Sunnyside diner with an unannounced visit. "I'm afraid we'll have to close until these issues are resolved," he said, closing the door behind him like it was the final act in a tragic play. Panic surged through her. What about her dreams? Her community? The proud diners who relied on her to share their meals and burdens? Sarah took a deep breath, stepping back into the diner, feeling the weight of every whispered word her family had left unspoken. She could sense the love around her even in the stillness. The patrons who had become family were knocking at the kitchen door. Her heart swelled with their determination, a chorus of voices urging her on. "Hey, Sarah. We're with you. We'll help with the repairs. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Standing at this crossroads, the pending family reunion loomed in her mind like a double-edged sword. Did she chase after reconciliation with a family that still glanced over her head? Or did she embrace the love emanating from her diner, the true heartbeat of her identity? As she gazed at the familiar faces around her, uncertainty quieted her thoughts, yet clamored inside her soul. One question floated to the surface, drowning out the rest: where did she truly belong? The noise of hammers and the hustle of voices filled the diner as Sarah watched her patrons rally together. It was nothing short of a miracle. Each person who came through the door didn't just bring tools, they carried the spirit of community and the warmth of friendship. She could hardly believe it. This was her family, the one she had built with care and love. "Let's South clear this place out," shouted Mike, a burly truck driver with a heart of gold. The others cheered, chipping away at the task with laughter and camaraderie. Sarah couldn't help but smile as they rolled up their sleeves, diving headfirst into fixing what the inspector deemed problematic. What had once seemed overwhelming began to look manageable, one shared effort at a time. Under the bright diner lights, they transformed the space. Walls were scrubbed, grease stains erased, and the lingering scent of hope filled the air, almost tangible. Helene, taking on the role of team leader, barked orders and encouragement in equal measure. "We need more elbow grease over here." Sarah grabbed the paint. Every spray of fresh paint and every laugh shared fueled a fire inside her. These moments of helping each other out were the reminders she needed. This was where she belonged. For a heartbeat, the pain of exclusion from her real family felt lessened. However, as the work continued, doubts crept back in like unwelcome shadows. Wouldn't her siblings still see her as just the girl with the diner? The one too afraid to chase after big corporate dreams? The weight of their judgment still hung over her. She watched the others band together, rallying in ways she longed for but had always been absent from. "Hey, Sarah, come help me with this," called a familiar voice. It was Mark, a college student working part-time while he studied. His youthful enthusiasm reminded her of her own lost aspirations she had shelved for the diner. "You've got a knack for this," he continued, holding up a brush like it was the golden ticket to a new beginning. Sarah hesitated for a moment, then took the brush, inhaling deeply. "All right, let us do this." She plastered on bright colors, the orange and yellow bringing warmth and cheer, just like her breakfasts did for the patrons. Amidst the laughter and banter, she felt the worries dissipate, each stroke of paint an act of reclaiming not just her diner, but her identity. As the day wore on, they managed to get everything ready. Standing at the renovated diner, it almost felt brand new. Sarah closed her eyes for a moment, breathing in the scent of freshly painted walls and the hope of new beginnings surrounding her. Yet, as she stepped outside to grab a well-deserved cup of coffee, she caught sight of a figure across the street. It was her brother, Jake. He loomed there like a storm cloud, a frown deepening the lines around his mouth. The weight of his presence cast a shadow on the bright day. Sarah's heart plunged. Did he come to check on the inspection? Or had he come to see her mess? The lingering distance between them felt heavier than ever. "Sarah," he called, his voice uncertain, forcing her heart to race. Was this the moment all those years of feeling invisible would alter? She stood frozen, brush still in hand, contemplating whether to step toward him or retreat back into the loving embrace of her chosen family. Would her brother understand the resilience she had discovered? Or would he just see the diner? With a deep breath and uncertainty coursing through her veins, she took a tentative step forward. In the heart of that moment, she faced the crossroads once more. Would this be the beginning of a repaired relationship or another painful rejection? Either way, she felt an unwavering truth within her: she was not defined by the lack of their acceptance. The stakes were rising, and Sarah was ready to confront whatever came next. But would she find the courage she needed when it mattered most? Sarah Jake's voice crackled as it floated across the street, each syllable thick with unspoken tension. She couldn't quite tell if it was concern or reproach that colored his tone. The once cheerful din of the diner, filled with laughter and life, faltered in her ears, replaced by the pounding of her heart. She took another small step forward, grounding herself in her surroundings: paint-splattered shoes, the scent of fresh coffee in the air, and the clink of cutlery from inside. But out here, standing before the brother she had all but lost, everything else faded. "What do you want, Jake?" she finally managed, her voice steady but low. Jake's brow was furrowed, frustration radiating from him like heat waves. "I came to see how this whole thing was going," he said, gesturing toward the diner. "I heard about the inspection." "We're making it work," Sarah replied, crossing her arms. "I can't let the diner go down just because of some inspector's views." He looked at her then, really looked, as if trying to pierce the facade she had maintained for so long. "But is this really what you want, Sarah?" There was a sharpness in his voice, and she could feel the weight of his expectations pressing down on her. "Staying here? Doing this?" The question hung between them, palpable and suffocating. Did he not see the joy she found in these walls? In the laughter, the community, the warmth of her evenings spent with her patrons who felt more like family? "This is my life now, Jake," she said, her voice trembling just a bit. "It's what I choose." For a moment, he fell silent, taking a half step back, reluctant but not leaving. It was as if he was wrestling with the clash of their worlds. Sarah could see the gears turning in his mind, the struggle to understand the life choices she had made, the life that had unfolded in stark contrast to his corporate success. "Sarah, what about Mom and Dad? They think you're here wasting your potential. They want you back in the city, doing what you're good at," Jake pressed, his voice laced with urgency, but it felt like a boulder rolling downhill, gathering speed and gravity. "Wasting my potential?" she echoed, indignant and wounded. "You think I'm not good at this?" She gestured widely to the bustling diner. "These people, this community, they need me. I need them. You can't just dismiss it because you see business suits as success." The corner of his mouth twitched in response. This is not what I meant." I know what you meant," Sarah interjected, her heart racing. The moment felt electric, charged with all the things left unsaid over the years. "You think I don't want better for myself? You think I'm choosing to be here because I haven't thought about what I could be? I think we all want what's best for each other," he said, finally softening slightly. "Then why can't you just support me?" Her voice cracked, emotions spilling over. "Why can't you see that I found my place, even if it isn't what you hoped?" Before Jake could respond, a voice pulled Sarah's attention back into the diner. Mark stuck his head out the door. "Hey, Sarah. We need more hands over here. Come on." The urgency in his voice broke the tension swirling in the air, thrusting her back into the warmth of camaraderie she had formed. But as she hesitated between two worlds, Jake's expression morphed into something unreadable, a hint of pride? Or concern? "Think about it," he said quietly, and then he turned to leave, hands tucked deep in his pockets, his shoulders stooped like the weight of the world pressed against him. The confrontation left a hollow ache inside her, and she watched him walk away, feeling the world around her fade to a dull hum. "Hey, Sarah." Mark called again, snapping her back. She took a deep breath, wiping away the moisture from her eyes. "Coming," she shouted, forcing a smile. As she re-entered the diner, the warmth of laughter enveloped her, but the ache in her chest still throbbed. The walls she fought so hard to build felt more fragile than ever. Setting down her paintbrush, she looked around at the people who brightened her world. They were there for her just like she was for them. Yet deep down, she couldn't shake the feeling that something crucial had shifted. What would it take for Jake to understand? As Sarah painted over the walls, a question echoed inside her. Who would she choose to be in her brother's eyes? And was she strong enough to fight for that answer when it mattered most? The heart of her journey lay ahead, tangled in the complexity of family ties and her own courageous heart. What would she discover about herself on the path to reconciliation? The sound of laughter and clinking dishes faded into the background as Sarah pushed through the door, her heart still heavy with the weight of her conversation with Jake. In the diner, the familiar faces smiled and waved, their warmth wrapping around her like a comforting blanket. Yet, a jagged shard of unease lodged in her chest, twisting and turning. "Hey, Sarah. You okay?" It was Ellie, a regular and a dear friend, her voice practically singing as she grabbed a plate to clear away a stack of empty coffee mugs. "Yeah, just family stuff," she replied, forcing a smile that felt more like a grimace. She joined Ellie at the counter, instinctively pouring a fresh pot of coffee, hoping the simple act would soothe the turmoil inside. "Family can be tricky," Ellie remarked, her hands never stopping as she wiped down the surfaces. "But you've got a lot of support here. We're your family too." Her words hung in the air, warm and genuine, but they didn't quite reach the ache deep within Sarah. "Thanks," Sarah said, her voice quieter than she intended. "I just need to figure things out." Ellie nodded knowingly, her eyes sparkling with understanding. "You're stronger than you know, Sarah. Don't forget that." As she walked away to serve another table, Sarah contemplated the truth in Ellie's words. She had always tucked herself away, wanting to balance the needs of others with her own dreams. The diner had become her sanctuary, a place where community and connection thrived. But with Jake's visit, that sanctuary felt more like a battleground, divided between family loyalty and her own aspirations. As she stirred sugar into her coffee, she found Mark standing next to her, leaning casually against the counter with a grin that reached his eyes. "Looks like you were deep in thought. Everything good?" Sarah met his gaze, feeling the tension lift just a fraction. "Family drama, as usual," she confessed, her words flowing out. "Jake thinks I'm not living up to my potential. He wants me to leave this all behind." Mark's expression shifted, seriousness replacing his playful demeanor. "Maybe he just doesn't understand what you've built here. This place isn't just a diner, it's a home for so many people." Sometimes I wonder if it's enough. The words slipped out before she could hold them back. "Enough?" Mark raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "What do you mean?" "I don't know," she sighed, frustration boiling beneath the surface. "There's this constant voice in my head telling me I should be doing more. Achieving more. I wonder if I'm just playing it safe by staying here." He took a moment to think, tapping his fingers against the counter. "Life isn't just about achievements or perceptions. It's about the connections you create. Look at everyone here who loves and supports you." "Yeah," but she searched for the right words. "What if one day, I wake up and realize I missed out on something great? What if I'm always just here?" Or, Mark challenged gently, what if here is where you're meant to be? What if this is your great thing? His words stirred something deep within Sarah. She turned her gaze toward the entrance, watching the customers come and go, bantering, laughing, wide smiles shining like beacons. These were the moments that mattered. Yet, the clamor of self-doubt was a relentless companion, whispering what-ifs into her ears. "You make a point," she said slowly, pondering. And I hate to admit this, I feel like I'm constantly fighting to prove I'm enough, not just for myself but for everyone else. Even Jake." Mark placed a hand over hers, a gesture that somehow anchored her racing thoughts. "Then it's time to stand tall and fight for yourself. Because this journey is yours. You decide what enough looks like." As they both stepped outside the diner for a breath, the sun dipped low, painting the sky with hues of orange and pink. Sarah inhaled deeply, feeling a spark of clarity ignite within her. She didn't want to merely escape her doubts, she wanted to confront them. But as she straightened up, a flicker of doubt crept back in. What would it take for her to fully embrace who she was, what she wanted to be? As the first stars twinkled above, she felt a tugging instinct to reach out to Jake again, to bridge the gap between their differing worlds. Somewhere inside, she knew, the battle within her was just beginning. Would she have the strength to face those doubts head-on, and would she discover the true depth of her own worth along the way? The diner was now a canvas of shadows and flickering lights, customers settling into their booths, laughter swirling like the aroma of fresh coffee. Sarah felt the weight of those unseen doubts settle heavier on her shoulders. She smiled at a group of regulars debating over the best pie flavor but couldn't shake off the feeling that they were worlds apart. When Ellie's voice chimed back into the scene, snapping her from her reverie, it felt like a lifeline. "Ready for the evening rush?" Ellie's cheerful demeanor was infectious, lifting Sarah's spirits if only for a moment. "Absolutely. Let us do this," Sarah replied with enthusiastic resolve. As orders flew in, adrenaline mixed with laughter, and for a while, the troubles from earlier faded to the background. Each plate served was a small victory, a reminder of her purpose. But even amidst the familiar chaos, a recurring thought echoed: what if Jake was right? Was she just marking time rather than truly living? When the last table cleared, and the evening lull settled over the diner, Sarah wiped down the counters, lost in contemplation. Mark joined her, this time with a more serious look. "You seem miles away. What is going on?" She paused, running her fingers over the smooth surface of the counter. "I can't shake Jake's words. What if I'm not enough? I mean, what if I'm just stagnant?" "Sarah," Mark said gently, his tone firm yet understanding. "You have a community here that relies on you. That has to mean something." "It does," she admitted. But I can't help but wonder if I'm holding myself back. Is building connections enough? Maybe it's about how you define enough. Focus on your journey, not on someone else's timeline. You're allowed to redefine what success looks like for you. His encouragement invigorated something deep inside her. The next wave of doubt felt less threatening, more like an opportunity. Could she mold her own definition of fulfillment? The night dragged on, with quiet conversations weaving through the air. As Sarah locked up the diner, the night sky sparkled. It seemed so far from the turmoil within. She stood for a moment, absorbing the beauty around her, letting it fill the void of uncertainty. Just then, her phone buzzed in her pocket. The name lit up on the screen: Jake. Her heart raced. Would he really be open to what she had to say? Would he understand how she craved not just his approval but also her freedom? Taking a deep breath, she swiped the screen and pressed the phone to her ear. Jake. Hey, Sarah. I wanted to touch base after our last conversation. His voice wavered slightly, tugging at her emotions. Actually, I was hoping to talk to you too, she replied, her voice steady despite her racing heart. There are some things I need to say. Things I need you to hear. Yeah? The question hung in the air, full of unspoken tension. Can we meet? She asked, her resolve solidifying. Of course. How about the park tomorrow? Sounds perfect. She smiled, feeling a wave of determination crash over her. This conversation could be the bridge they needed. As she ended the call, a swell of anxiety washed over her. What if this didn't lead where she hoped? Yet, there lay an undeniable glimmer of hope. The morning sun would bring a new day, and with it, the chance to reshape everything. She might finally confront Jake and embrace what she wanted for herself, but how would that confrontation unfold? The answer awaited her just beyond the horizon. The sun rose in soft hues of orange and gold, spilling light over the quiet streets. As Sarah parked her car near the park entrance, her heart thudded in her chest like the persistent beat of a drum. Today felt monumental. Today was the day she would reclaim her voice. She stepped out into the crisp morning air, feeling the weight of her worries lift slightly with each breath. The laughter of children played in the distance, mixing with the rustling leaves. Maybe this wasn't just about her and Jake. Maybe it was about rediscovering who she was without the shadows of others' expectations. Sarah spotted Jake sitting on a bench under a massive oak tree, his fingers tapping nervously on his phone. For a moment, she hesitated. His presence stirred a swirl of memories both sweet and painful. She wasn't sure if she was prepared to pull back the layers of what had been festering under the surface. Hey, you made it. He called out, his face breaking into a smile that lit up his eyes. His warmth felt inviting, yet there was an edge of uncertainty in his expression. Hey, Jake, Sarah replied, forcing a smile of her own. As she settled onto the bench, there was an electric tension in the air. We need to talk. Yeah, I figured, he said, a hint of apprehension washing over his face. I've been thinking about our last conversation. I just want to understand where you're coming from. Good. Because I really need you to listen, she began, her voice steady but laced with nerves. I know you're worried about me, and I appreciate it, but I can't keep living my life based on someone else's vision for me. I feel trapped in this role, like I'm playing a part in your story instead of my own. Jake's brow furrowed slightly, his fingers stilling. I didn't mean to make you feel that way, Sarah. I just thought I was helping you find direction. By defining my life for me? That's not help, Jake, she said, courage swelling within her. I want to figure this out on my own, build a life that makes sense to me. I need you to support me, not dictate my path. His expression shifted, understanding slowly dawning on him. I didn't realize you felt that way. But I didn't mean to stifle you. I want what's best for you. I know. But the pressure to conform to your idea of best is suffocating. I want to explore what makes me happy, even if it doesn't look like what you expect. She felt the rush of tears welling up, but she fought them back. This was not the time for breaking down. Okay, he said finally, leaning back as he processed her words. But can we talk about our expectations? There's a lot at stake here, Sarah. His vulnerability struck a chord within her, pulling at her heart. This didn't have to be an end, it could be a new beginning. Can we agree to be honest with each other? I don't want to lose what we have, but I can't do this if I'm constantly wondering what you think of my choices. Jake nodded, the tension easing slightly. Yeah, I can do that. I want you to be happy, even if it means accepting that we might not have the same vision for our lives. As they sat in the calming embrace of the park, a new realization filled the space between them. Maybe this was the first step toward a deeper understanding, not just as individuals, but as allies in each other's journeys. But even as hope sparked within her, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning. Would their relationship survive this newfound honesty? And what would she discover about herself along the way? The answers were just waiting to unfold. The warmth of the sun wrapped around Sarah, a gentle reminder of the new chapter beginning before her. As she sat on the bench next to Jake, she felt the vibrations of the world around them, the laughter of children, the chirping of birds, the rustling leaves making promises of a fresh start. She understood now that these moments would define her journey, a stepping stone toward the person she wanted to be. Sarah, Jake said softly, breaking the comfortable silence. I want you to know. I respect your need for space. His voice trembled slightly, letting her know he was trying, really trying. But I'm scared. I don't want to lose something that means so much to me. His confession hit her squarely in the chest. Was she strong enough to navigate this new emotion without letting fear guide her decisions? I'm scared too, Jake, she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. But if I can't explore who I am, then what is the point of this? She watched as he processed her words. Jake's brow furrowed deeper, clearly torn. What does that look like for you? What does exploring mean? Sarah inhaled deeply, gathering her thoughts against the flutter of anxiety in her stomach. It's about trying new things, whether that's taking a class, joining a club, or even just changing how I spend my weekends. I want to listen to my own voice. She paused, looking directly at him. But I need you to trust me through this. Trust that I'll come back to you, changed but still me. The sunlight filtered through the oak leaves, casting whimsical shadows on the ground. Jake looked at her, uncertainty flickering in his eyes. I want to be supportive, but will you still want me in your life if you change? What if the woman you become doesn't want me anymore? His question hung heavily in the air, pushing Sarah to confront her own fears. Would she want him? The thought sent a ripple of doubt through her. I can't predict the future, but I hope we can grow together, she said, her heart in her throat. I hope you can be the one person I can turn to when I'm trying to navigate all these new paths. Slowly, a hesitant smile crept onto his face. So, you're not leaving me behind? You're just finding a way to be more of yourself? Yes. She felt a surge of relief wash over her. I want to find myself, but I don't want to push you away in the process. I want you by my side, but it's about balancing that with my need to grow. He took a deep breath, as if shedding his own weight. So, what happens next? How do we do this together? We start fresh, she said, a sense of determination gripping her. Let us find ways to be involved in each other's lives authentically. I want to support you too, in your journey. We'll figure it out as we go along. No more expectations, just support. Well, that sounds scary, he chuckled. But it also sounds exciting. As they both relaxed into the moment, a seed of hope planted itself in her heart. Jake may not have been the answer to all her questions, but he had become a trusted partner in her journey. Just then, a group of kids ran past, pouncing gleefully on a frisbee. Their infectious laughter filled the space, an unexpected reminder of the freedom they craved. Somehow, that laughter echoed Sarah's own hidden excitement for the unknown. Do you remember how we used to run around like that? Jake asked, his eyes crinkling with nostalgia. Yeah, she smiled, flicking her hair back. That was before we got so serious. What if we made it a point to be a little more like that again? His suggestion sparked something inside her. Yes. Let us find ways to inject fun into our days, like we used to. Little trips, silly challenges, anything. As they chuckled together, some of the tension thawed. Yet, deeper questions lingered. Would they truly be able to navigate this uncharted territory without losing each other in the process? The atmosphere buzzed with potential and uncertainty. Each smile and laugh felt like a promise, yet Sarah still wondered, was she truly ready for the adventure ahead? Would her quest for self-discovery only lead her closer to Jake, or further apart? She glanced at him, feeling the weight of what lay ahead. The stakes felt so much larger now. Would they find their way back to each other, or discover they had been living separate dreams all along? The horizon of their relationship stretched wide open, full of unknowns just waiting to be explored. The next day, Sarah threw herself into her routine with a newfound vigor. She woke early, drawn from her sleepy cocoon by bright sunlight seeping through her window. It felt like the universe was nudging her to take that first leap. With excitement tinged by nerves, she grabbed a notebook and began writing down everything that came to her mind, the ideas, the ambitions, the bits and pieces of her soul she'd kept tucked away for too long. As the sun climbed higher, she realized a simple thought had sparked a flame. She wanted to take a painting class. When was the last time she'd let herself get messy with paint, losing track of time? It seemed like a fitting first step on this journey of self-exploration. Later, she met up with Jake for lunch at their favorite cafe. The bustling sounds of clinking dishes and conversation surrounded them, but all she could focus on was the spark of excitement brewing inside her, itching to burst forth. "Hey, I've been thinking," she said, tapping her fingers on the table. "I want to take a painting class this weekend." His eyebrows raised in surprise. "Really? That's awesome. When did you get this idea?" "Last night, while I was writing," she confessed shyly. "I just felt this urge to create. I want to explore that side of me." "Wow, that's a big step. I'm proud of you." Jake's genuine enthusiasm warmed her heart. He leaned closer, curiosity sparkling in his eyes. "What else do you want to try?" She paused, surprised by the list of thoughts swirling in her head. "Maybe a dance class? Or hiking? I don't know, I just feel like I need to break free, try everything out. Discover what I really love. Let us do it together." Jake replied. "We could find a dance class and make it a goofy adventure. We could both use a laugh, right?" Laughter bubbled up between them, a sweet reminder of the intimacy they were building anew. But just as she was caught up in the moment, a shadow crept in, the haunting thought of losing each other even as they rooted for personal growth. Before she could voice her concerns, Jake's phone buzzed on the table. His face faltered as he read the message. "It's my mom. She wants me to come to a family reunion this weekend. I'm really torn about it." "Oh," Sarah said quietly. A rush of emotions coursed through her. She wanted him to feel comfortable being with his family, yet she couldn't help feeling a pang of abandonment. "Do you want to go?" "Yeah," he sighed. "But I don't want to leave you behind while you're trying this new thing. I've been looking forward to seeing you try new stuff." The tension in the cafe shifted in an instant. Sarah could see the dilemma in his eyes. "You should go, Jake. It's important to you." "I'll be fine getting lost in a world of paint and colors." He hesitated, gaze switching between her and the buzzing phone. "But what if I miss something big with you, like seeing you start this journey?" Her heart raced. "You won't miss anything if you focus on family. I need time for me, and you need to focus on yours. It'll be okay, I promise." After moments of silent contemplation, Jake agreed, but the warm glimmer in Sarah's heart severely dimmed. She didn't want to feel left behind. As he pulled out his phone to text back, her thoughts raced. She could start painting, but what was the point if she felt alone? That evening, as twilight settled in, Sarah found herself staring at an empty canvas, unsure of her next move. Doubts crept in, whispering that maybe she'd chosen the wrong path. Just then, a text beeped from Jake's phone that lit up the screen with the words, "You are worth this journey, Sarah. Don't ever doubt yourself." That message sent her heart soaring. Hope flickered anew. But as she dipped her brush into paint, a nagging thought lingered: was she really prepared for all that lay ahead? And what other surprises awaited on her journey of rediscovery? In that moment, she wondered, could her exploration of creativity fill the gaps left by Jake's absence, or would she find herself yearning for their shared experiences more than ever? As the sun broke through the horizon the next morning, painting the sky in pastel hues, Sarah sat with her canvas, brush in hand. The brilliant colors brought a flicker of inspiration, but doubt clouded her heart like a stubborn fog. She dipped her brush into the vibrant paint, creating abstract strokes that seemed to echo her confusion. Every movement felt challenging, each color a reminder of her uncertainty. Thoughts of Jake slipped in uninvited. Would their connection fade? Would she be able to forge her own path while he forged his? That nagging contrast between personal growth and shared experiences left her restless. Yet, she couldn't shake the urge to dive in. Stepping back, she looked at her work with a deep breath. It wasn't about perfection, it was about expression. Putting the brush down, she wandered into her small living room. Her eyes flitted across the bookshelves crammed with novels she loved, along with the diary spilling secrets of who she used to be. Picking up the diary, she flipped through pages filled with dreams and unfulfilled desires. Each word held a glimpse of the woman she aspired to be. Deciding it was time for action, she grabbed her phone, ready to look up local painting classes and maybe some dance studios. The ringing of her phone surprised her. It was Jake. "Hey." His voice had a familiar warmth that wrapped around her like a comforting blanket. "Just wanted to see how you're doing, and yeah. I miss you." Her heart fluttered. "I miss you too. I just started painting, and it's different. I thought I'd feel more free, but it's hard without you here." He paused, sensing her hesitation. "You're doing this for yourself, right? I mean, I'd love to be there, but think of all the colors waiting for you." Sarah smirked, contemplating the playful exaggeration. "You sound like an over-the-top art critic. Maybe I should hang my masterpiece in a gallery." They shared a laugh, but when the giggles faded, Sarah felt a yearning for the closeness they shared. "Have you thought any more about trying out dance?" he asked, his curiosity lively. "I have, and I was thinking of going solo at first, maybe even to that studio downtown. I need to feel brave enough to step out of my comfort zone." "You'll be incredible. Just think about how we look showing off our moves, it'd be epic." He chuckled, and she could picture him shaking his hips humorously, trying to get her to join in the laughter. His enthusiasm sparked something in her. "I don't know if I can go without you. I feel like it's the type of thing you need someone to hold your hand for. Your journey is all about stepping out alone, Sarah. You're capable of so much," he urged. After they exchanged a few more warm, silly banter, Sarah hung up, her heart feeling fuller. His support inspired her, unraveling a strength she didn't know she possessed. She resolved there and then. It was time to chase this feeling of freedom, even if Jake wouldn't be a part of her first steps. As the clock ticked towards noon, Sarah decided to visit the local art studio's website. The classes listed were a colorful spectrum of options: abstract painting, figure modeling, even pottery. And there it was, an adult beginner painting class this Saturday. Just a few simple clicks, and she could register. But as she inputted her details, she hesitated. What if the class was filled with strangers? What if she made a fool of herself? Doubts bubbled back to the surface, threatening to engulf her in hesitation once again. But deep down, she felt that if she wanted adventure and self-discovery, this was necessary. In that moment of conflict, a message surfaced on her phone, a reminder from a mentor she once admired. "Courage doesn't mean you don't feel scared. It means you do it anyway." With a shaky breath, Sarah clicked submit. The relief that washed over her felt like sunshine on a winter day. She had taken a step. But what would Saturday bring? Would she truly be able to embrace this new beginning, or would she falter when faced with the unknown? As the week unfolded and her anticipation built, she found herself dancing in her living room, the music spilling through the speakers. But in the quiet moments, an undeniable question lingered: how would she navigate this journey without Jake by her side? And more importantly, was she ready for the unexpected surprises it would bring? The day had finally arrived. Sarah stood in front of the mirror, her heart racing as she adjusted her hair for the third time. The sunlight streamed through her window, filling the room with a warm glow. Today was not just an ordinary day, it was the day she would take the leap into the unknown. She was set to attend her painting class, a step toward reclaiming her identity and exploring the dreams she had kept tucked away for far too long. As she grabbed her bag, her mind danced with a mixture of excitement and nervousness. Would she fit in? Would anyone notice her hesitation? But beneath that swirling storm of doubts lay the solid foundation of resolve she had built over the past weeks. The world of color and creativity awaited her, and no matter how scared she felt, she was determined not to let fear hold her back. Arriving at the studio, Sarah took a deep breath before entering. As she stepped inside, the invigorating scent of paint mixed with the laughter of fellow students filled the air. She felt a flutter of anxiety. The room buzzed with energy, and the walls were adorned with the vibrant creations of past students. It was overwhelming. But as she scanned the room, her gaze landed on a welcoming group gathered around a large easel, painting together and sharing ideas. A warm smile broke across Sarah's face. Could this be a new beginning? On impulse, she moved toward the group, joining them with a determination that felt almost foreign yet exhilarating. Welcome. You're just in time to jump in. A friendly voice pulled her from her thoughts. It was a woman with colorful hair and paint-splattered overalls, exuding positivity. I'm Mia, and this is our first week. We're glad to have you. Thanks. I'm Sarah, she introduced herself, feeling the jitters threaten to dissolve as energy around her radiated warmth. And for the first time, she felt the brush of belonging. Mia led the class with infectious enthusiasm, highlighting the importance of self-expression. Sarah picked up her brush, and as she began to paint, colors flowed from her heart more freely than she had ever imagined. With each stroke, layers of self-doubt melted away, transforming into waves of confidence. As the session rushed forward, laughter and motivation filled the room. Sarah lost track of time, consumed by the beauty of creativity. Fellow students admired her bold choices, and with each compliment, her spirit soared higher. It felt like a revelation she was where she was meant to be. Meanwhile, Jake sat in the hospital waiting room, nervously scrolling through his phone. He hadn't expected to be back in town so soon for his family's reunion, especially after their heartfelt conversation in the park. Part of him didn't want to attend, fearing it would derail the progress he and Sarah were making together. But the weight of family expectations tugged at him relentlessly. Finally, he mustered the courage to step through the doors of the gathering. He scanned the faces, searching for comfort amidst family members who saw success differently than he did. But just as he began to engage, his phone buzzed with a text from Sarah. Just finished my first painting class. It was amazing. I can't wait to show you. His heart warmed at her words. It was a reminder of how she was stepping into her own light, creating a life that was authentically her. Like metaphorical colors splattering across a canvas, their journeys were taking different shapes yet intertwining in beautiful ways. A wave of pride surged through him. As the reconvened family members discussed their corporate triumphs, Jake felt a ripple of resistance rise within him. This wasn't the life he wanted to pursue. He remembered Sarah's determination, her journey of stepping into her own. Hold on, he said, cutting through the conversation, earning several curious looks. My sister is doing something incredible right now. It's time to celebrate her path, not just ours. His declaration hung in the air, transforming the atmosphere and shifting the focus of the gathering. The family exchanged glances, caught off guard, but Jake stood firm. Sarah's journey was his newfound pride, and he wasn't going to let it slip into the shadow of their expectations. She's finding herself, and so should we. He continued, his voice steady, Jake realized that this was how he could support Sarah by embracing his own path alongside hers. Back in the studio, Sarah stepped back from her canvas, awed by the explosion of colors before her. She didn't just paint a picture, she painted a piece of herself. It was transformative, each brushstroke linked to her renewed purpose and hope for the future. Seeing her creation brought forth an unexpected swell of joy, a feeling she so dearly craved. After class, Sarah stepped outside, the warmth of the sun enveloping her. With renewed spirit, she celebrated this first leap. In that moment, she felt fiercely proud not solely of her artistry, but of the journey she had begun to explore. It was scary and exhilarating, but she was ready to embrace everything that came next. Suddenly, her phone buzzed. It was a video from Jake. She tapped play and felt a rush of excitement as she watched him address the camera with a huge smile. "Hey, Sarah. I just wanted to say how proud I am of you. Keep painting and keep shining. Love you." A wave of emotion washed over her as tears brimmed in her eyes. It was sweet, sincere, and so supportive. This was what she had hoped for: connection back into their lives, their journeys intertwined in ways that radiated acceptance rather than pressure. As the sun set, casting a golden glow, Sarah glanced at her painting one last time. She knew she was on the brink of a thrilling adventure, dazzling and unpredictable. A journey filled with her own colors, her own dreams. And as she took a deep breath, letting hope settle deep within her, she realized that this was where she truly belonged. Life, like art, was hers to create. Now was the time to embrace it fiercely. If you felt Sarah's powerful transformation, you need to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show your support. Comment your reactions and feelings about Sarah's incredible journey. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.